My wife cheated on me. With my sister. My son saw everything. I 36M never thought I'd be that guy, the one typing some wild confessional on Reddit like it's my therapy session, but here we are. This whole thing feels like a messed up movie I didn't sign up for. I've been married to my wife, 34F, for just under 10 years. We have a 7-year-old son, and until 2 months ago, I thought we were a normal little family. Sure, we had the usual ups and downs, bills, work stress, the occasional argument, but nothing serious. Nothing to make me think my entire life was about to implode. It started on a random Tuesday night. My son, who we'll call Jake, came up to me looking kinda off. He's usually a chatterbox after dinner, bouncing around, showing me his Lego builds or talking about some show he watched. But this time he was quiet. Pale. His eyes looked confused. I asked him what was wrong. He hesitated, then mumbled, "I saw Mommy kissing Aunt Sarah." At first, I laughed. I thought maybe it was some innocent peck on the cheek. Sisters-in-law being affectionate. No big deal, right? Then he said, "Not like how you kiss Mommy. Like in the movies." My heart dropped. I didn't react. Not in front of him. I said thank you for telling me, gave him a hug, and told him everything was okay. He went back to playing Minecraft like nothing happened. Meanwhile, I sat there frozen. My mind spinning. Aunt Sarah is my younger sister. She's 32. She's always been close with my wife. They joke, share wine nights, go shopping together. Honestly, I always thought it was cool how well they got along. I never saw it as weird. Never imagined I needed to. But that night I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling while replaying every moment in my head. Every time they touched a little too long, whispered and laughed in the kitchen when I walked in, the late-night texts. I don't know what came over me, but the next morning, I ordered 2 hidden cameras. One for the living room, one for our bedroom. It felt paranoid, but I needed to know. I needed proof before I destroyed my own marriage in my head. Maybe Jake misunderstood. Maybe it was nothing. 3 days later, I got my answer. I came home from work, checked the footage, and there they were. On the couch. Making out. Full on. Hands everywhere. Laughing. My wife. My sister. In my house. While Jake was in the next room. I felt like throwing up. And that was just the beginning. I watched the whole thing, alone in my home office, hands shaking, heart racing like I just run a marathon in boots. I kept pausing the footage, rewinding it like maybe I had it wrong. Like maybe there was some explanation. There wasn't. It was all there. My wife, the woman I'd built a life with, kissing my sister like they were in some secret romance movie. Except it wasn't a movie. It was my actual, screwed-up reality. The worst part? It didn't even look like it was the first time. They were comfortable. Familiar. This wasn't some heat-of-the-moment accident. It was practiced. Intimate. Like they'd done it dozens of times. I sat there for a while after that. Just numb. You know the kind of silence that feels loud? That was me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat, staring at the paused screen, my wife's hand buried in my sister's hair, both of them laughing like teenagers. All I could think about was Jake. My son saw that. He didn't understand it, but he saw it. And they didn't even care. They were so careless, so comfortable doing that in front of him that it told me everything I needed to know. They didn't respect me. Hell, they didn't even respect him. I waited until Saturday. I wanted them both there, no escape, no excuses. I walked into the living room like it was just another lazy weekend. They were there, of course. Laughing over coffee. My wife in one of my hoodies, Sarah barefoot on the couch like she owned the place. I didn't drag it out. I just said, I know. I saw everything. Everything stopped. My wife looked confused for half a second and then it clicked. Her face dropped. My sister just stared at the floor. I told them I had it on video. I told them Jake saw it before I did. And I told them both very calmly to get the hell out of my house. That's when the tears started. My wife tried the "you don't understand" speech. Said she's been struggling with her identity for years, that Sarah was the only one who truly sees her. She actually said that while standing in our living room. The one I paid for. The one we built together. I said, you know what? That's fine. Be yourself. Be with whoever you want. But you don't cheat on your husband to figure it out. And you sure as hell don't do it in front of your kid. Sarah didn't say a word. Not one. Not even sorry. I packed a bag that night and took Jake to my brother's place. He fell asleep in the car listening to music. Meanwhile, I was dying inside, trying not to cry behind the wheel. That was the night everything changed. The next few days were a blur. I was crashing on my brother's couch with Jake, trying to hold it together. He kept asking when we were going home, and I didn't know what to say. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that everything he thought was safe just cracked open? I didn't show him the footage, obviously. He didn't need that. He already saw enough. But I did start him in therapy the following week. I wasn't going to mess around with this. He's just a kid. He deserved better than to carry the weight of our mess. Meanwhile, I filed for divorce. No dramatic blow-ups. No second chances. I didn't care if she was discovering herself or if it was love or whatever excuse she wanted to lean on. At the end of the day, cheating is still cheating, no matter who it's with. And it was my sister. That betrayal hits different. I also went completely no contact with Sarah. Blocked her on everything. I didn't even respond to the long-ass email she sent me 2 days later. It was full of, "I never meant to hurt you," and "I didn't plan for this to happen," and "I've hated myself every day." Blah, blah, blah. Too late. Some things you don't come back from. But then came the real kicker. My family found out. And let me tell you, that was a circus. Half of them went full support her truth mode. Like they forgot the part where she was hooking up with her sister-in-law behind my back. Like cheating magically becomes noble when it's wrapped in a rainbow flag. I got accused of being unsupportive and angry. Yeah, no kidding. The other half, disgusted. My mom cried when I told her. Said she felt like she failed both of us. My dad hasn't spoken to Sarah since. My brother, the one I stayed with, offered to help me move out the second I mentioned it. And that's what I did. I moved. Not just out of the house. Out of that whole life. I found a small 2-bedroom apartment across town. Quiet. Nothing fancy, but clean. Safe. Just me and Jake. I let my wife keep the house. Let her deal with the mortgage. Let her stare at the walls where she built her lies. I didn't even want it anymore. I took the only thing that mattered, my son, my peace, and my dignity. It's weird, the things that snap you out of a breakdown. For me, it was a juice box. 2 days after moving into our new place, I was unpacking boxes, sitting on the floor surrounded by a mess of toys, books, and mismatched kitchenware. I hadn't eaten all day, my head was pounding, and everything just felt heavy. You know that kind of tired where your bones ache? That was me. Jake walked in from his room, still in his dinosaur pajamas, and handed me a juice box from the fridge. Didn't say a word. Just gave me a look like, "Here. You need this more than I do." I laughed. A real, honest-to-God laugh. First one in weeks. It was small, but it cracked something open in me. This little dude, this tiny human I helped make, was saving me without even knowing it. Since then, everything's been about him. I wake up early now. Pack his lunch. Make pancakes on Sundays, even if I burn half of them. We have a routine: school drop-off, work, dinner, cartoons. Every night we watch something silly before bed, old SpongeBob, Lego movies, whatever. It's our time. I thought I'd miss being married. I thought I'd feel lost. But honestly, I've never felt more like a dad than I do now. There's no tension in the house anymore. No cold shoulders. No fake smiles across the dinner table. It's just quiet. Warm. Simple. Jake even said something the other night that wrecked me. We were brushing our teeth side by side at the sink and he goes, "You're nicer when you're happy." I had to step into the hallway and breathe for a second. That kid has no idea how close I was to falling apart. And yet he's the one holding me together. As for my ex, we're only in contact for co-parenting stuff. I keep it civil, short, and emotionless. She moved in with Sarah 2 weeks after I left. Didn't waste any time. I guess when you burn a life down, there's no point standing in the ashes. I've heard they're happy. Good for them. I hope they choke on their happiness. Okay, that's petty. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm still angry. I just refuse to live in that anger. I'd rather spend my energy building something better with my son than tearing down what's already ruined. So that's what I'm doing. One day at a time. 3 weeks after I moved out, Sarah tried to call me. I didn't answer. She followed up with a long message, some half apology, half justification crap. "I never wanted to hurt you. This wasn't planned. You wouldn't understand." You know, the usual script people use when they're trying to make themselves feel less like garbage. She ended it with, "I hope we can talk someday. I miss my brother." That one hit. Because for a second, a stupid, vulnerable second, I did miss her. We grew up side by side. Shared rooms, secrets, trauma, childhood. And now? Gone. Like all of that just got torched in the name of something she couldn't even be honest about until it blew up. But that second passed. And then I remembered Jake sitting on the couch that night, eyes wide, asking why Mommy and Aunt Sarah were kissing like in the movies. Nope. That door stays shut. I left her on read. Not to be dramatic, just because some wounds don't need a conversation. They need distance. Silence. Let her sit in it. Let both of them. I don't need an apology. I need peace. And honestly, I'm finding it. Last weekend, Jake and I built a pillow fort in the living room. Blankets everywhere. I let him eat cereal in the fort while we watched How to Train Your Dragon. He looked at me halfway through and said, "I like this house better. You don't yell here." That one stayed with me, because I didn't even realize how much stress I'd been carrying. How much I'd let that marriage weigh me down. The guilt. The second guessing. The pretending everything was fine just so I wouldn't make it worse. I was walking on glass in my own home and calling it love. Now, It's just the two of us. No lies. No secrets. Just honesty. Healing. Freedom. My lawyer says the divorce should be finalized soon. Custody's leaning heavily in my favor, especially since Jake told the therapist he feels safer with me. I didn't coach him, didn't push. Just let him speak his truth. My ex tried to make a case for 50-50, but let's be real. She chose herself. She chose my sister. She unchose our family. Actions have consequences. So no, I didn't scream. I didn't make a scene. I didn't post anything online or blow up the group chat. I just walked away. And sometimes, that's the loudest move you can make.